My third upload for today with regard to the human rights violations that are being perpetrated that involve very serious issues regarding financial abuse, financial theft, financial exploitation, trespassing onto marital property, children's rights violations, etc., and defamation of my character, reputation, and good name, and other more serious issues that I've discussed at length in these uploads. So basically, in this situation, there seems to be a lack of regard and a lack of regard for not just constitution but also declaration. Um, the issues that are of very serious concern are the obstructions of justice that are being perpetrated while the culprits are manipulating, scaremongering, and coercing individuals into their agendas that are negating, disrespecting a married woman, a mother, a teacher, a humanitarian, a member of the fellowship, etc. So basically, the issue of privacy has been very serious. Bodily integrity violations have been very serious, and medical negligence has also been very serious. So this is all that is involved in these uploads, and it's all very repetitive, but this is how long it takes for authorities and politicians to confront matters without imposters and trespassers and those intruding, uh, you know, from causing more harm and wrongdoings. So the defamation of my character has been very dangerous. The outlandish um, remarks that have been said have been completely unsubstantiated and highly defamatory. For a person to have been happily married and after giving birth in only 2015 to be experiencing the very serious medical incompetence that I've experienced, as well as the very serious defamation and intrusion of other professionals that haven't been so professional at all, um, just highlights how irate and disrespectful a circumstance has been caused. Um, so this, as I've mentioned, has all involved privacy violations and the accessing of information unethically, and bodily integrity violations also that have done very serious damage. Um, as a deserted wife or as a wife of a missing person, I'm very annoyed with authorities today. I'm very annoyed with the ombudsman, and I'm very annoyed with the politicians that have ignored the damages of those causing these issues of children's rights violations and human rights violations and constitutional violations also. I'm very annoyed that my private information has been falsified, that there have been false facts relayed, that there has been information unethically and unlawfully accessed, and that there have been officials, as they consider themselves, um, changing information, changing facts, basically to suit their storyline, their plot, and their version of events. So, this issue with regard to information being accessed by less than scrupulous individuals and information being withheld from law abiding citizens such as myself is all very concerning. Um, the information that has been withheld from me is not in any way justifiable. I'd like to know where my spouse has disappeared to. I'd like to know why the ombudsman have not acknowledged the complaints that have been lodged. I'd like to know who's trespassing onto my marital farm holdings. I'd also like to know who's living in my marital home. I'd like to know who's defaming my profession and my career and withholding my postal correspondence. So the ombudsman and the politicians have all been notified since these offences commenced. The vendetta that's occurring is very dangerous when it involves not only just children's rights and women's rights and human rights and constitutional rights, but also when it involves family farm holdings. So those disrespecting not only those issues that I've just mentioned, but that have also been involved in very serious spiritual violence on a number of occasions since I've been married and since I gave birth. Um, these are very huge concerns. So the spiritual violence, as I've mentioned, is an ongoing issue, and the disrespect to women's rights is an ongoing issue. So, as a law abiding citizen and as a teacher and as a humanitarian, um, I'd like to know why the authorities haven't confronted these issues and who they are confronting these issues with, if at all. So, this is my concern for today, my third upload. It was bad enough to have suffered sexual assault and revenge porn over 10 years ago. But what are the authorities doing to defend women's rights and children's rights? And what are they doing about missing persons? So, those perpetrating identity theft and financial theft and property theft, and that are falsifying information and providing fake evidence and unsubstantiated facts. What are the authorities and the guards doing about this situation? Because it's very monotonous and tedious for me to be repeating this issue every day or whenever I get to share or upload, while suffering from medical incompetence that is still not after being acknowledged. And as regards um, violations of privacy, what are the authorities doing about those people that are accessing information unlawfully and presenting and misconstruing information vindictively and maliciously? And as regards people on my marital farm holdings, what are the guards doing about that also? And as regards those not just imposing but intruding, those people that are taking advantage of this circumstance, what are the guards and politicians doing about that? I'm in a HAPS accommodation as a married woman, a deserted wife, a wife of a missing person, experiencing these human rights violations. What are the human rights agencies that I've contacted being told to prevent them from providing the assistance that I require? Why aren't the mental health services confronting the mental health issues of those thinking that they can trespass into another person's life and impose and fake and falsify information and steal what doesn't belong to them? How is the mental health of those people, and how deluded are they to think that that is tolerable or lawful? And what kind of guards and authorities are in this democracy not to be confronting the wrongdoers and the guilty culprits? So, as a very disgruntled and upset mother and wife and teacher and humanitarian and law abiding citizen, I'd like to know, why are the authorities and politicians thinking they're able to sweep this under the carpet and ignore what's been stolen from me? The spiritual violence and damage done to my light body as an angelic light worker, and the people that I'm fully aware of that have intruded and imposed into my royal ancestry. What and how do those people and the politicians of this country, how do they think that that is acceptable and tolerable? So these offences that are being perpetrated and being facilitated, what is the mental health and the lay of the land of those people that think that this is tolerable and acceptable or anyway good enough for the future? So those of stealth and wealth and of propriety, I'd appreciate it if you'd check your morals and your conscience, please, because the amount of damages done to my health and my body as a consequence of unethical practices and unethical means of attaining information, etc., without consultation or authorization, etc., and the damage done to children's rights and women's rights are all very serious issues. So I'd appreciate it if those trespassing also into my marital home and my farm holdings um, would be confronted also and this matter be rectified. I'm currently living in a HAPS accommodation apartment. I'm a law abiding citizen and a teacher that's been wronged and defamed by a collective group of people guilty of revenge porn. So I'm wondering what the authorities and the guards are prepared to do to prevent this from happening to other daughters of other fathers in this country. So I'm wondering, have they thought about how this being facilitated is perpetuating the matter for other young women in this country and abroad in Europe? Is it tolerable for this to be happening to this woman while guilty culprits are escaping the justice to be dealt for the errors of their ways? This upload is my final upload for today. The relevant agencies and authorities have been contacted. Assistance has been obstructed. I'd appreciate it if you'd acknowledge the seriousness of the circumstances being caused for me in Tralee County, Kerry, Ireland.